Okay, so this is episode 1. I actually have you guys strapped to the rear view mirror, and I double up one of them the rubber from a face mask. So yeah, it's a ghetto. But I wanted to try out a driving video. Like, it's a good 20-30 minute ride to the flea market. So I figured this would be a good opportunity. I might need to get out this way. Just to do little powwows and everything else. So since today is buy and selling day, let's go ahead and continue the theme. This will be the third video. So I wanted to I was kind of doing things and trying to process my thoughts while I was working. So it's kind of I have no idea what that video is going to turn out to be. It might be crap, I don't know. Let's see. No accidents. All right. I hear the plates and everything sliding around in the back. So let's do a little start to finish, kind of like a a wrap up of today. So when you go to a storage unit, everybody that was out there has been there for many times. I mean, so we all know the games, we all know the rules, so he didn't go into the spiel. But most of the time, whenever you go to a storage locker or go to an auction, oh, that's very distracting. I see my arm in the mirror, and it makes me think it's on the camera. This arm here, but anyways. So whenever you get there, usually there's an auctioneer that's hired or works for the company, and basically all sales are cash, and sometimes they'll let you pay with a credit card. You have a certain amount of time, can't use the dumpster, has to be broom clean. In other words, you physically have to sweep it out. You can't leave a whole bunch of trash, and you take it all with you. So number one, if you plan on buying a storage locker, don't go there with the Honda Civic. I mean, you need to have a truck, a trailer. It's better to have a trailer, because sometimes you'll buy stuff that has roaches or rats or old food. You don't necessarily want that in your vehicle, so I always recommend a trailer. It can be enclosed or open, that really don't matter. Enclosed is better, but it's also a lot more money to buy. I'm also, just a little thing here, I'm curious how this video is going to come out, because right now there's some metal or some tape on the roof of this truck trying to seal it up because the roof leaks. So, and I hear it flapping, so let's see how the audio is right now, because I hear it real loud in here. And then so you go to let's go back down. So you go back to the auction. Pretty much the auctioneer is going to tell you the rules. When you open it up, you can't reach in, you can't touch anything, you're not allowed to go in the locker. He did give us permission on that one to look at the dresser. So, I mean, that was actually a really nice dresser. In fact, I have a French Provincial, but it doesn't match what I have, so I'm not going to get into trying to buy a dresser and moving a dresser. So, but they open it up, and you get to see the front of the locker. You don't see what's in the boxes unless it's open. It is a good thing to bring a flashlight, so if there is a locker that's packed up, you can kind of see in between the boxes and shine some light on things. You might see a name, you might see a piece of something, and you're like, hey, I know what that is. And so you never know. It's good to have a flashlight, and then bring locks, because once you buy it, you need to secure your stuff. Now, I got a little bag that I carry with me for locks, and then once I empty it out, I put the locks back in the bag, and I just throw the bag in the corner of the vehicle that I'm in. So you go and you buy a locker, you go and pay for it. Now, sometimes there's certain places, like if it's a house auction, and when I say a house auction, in other words, it's being done in-house, they don't normally charge an auction fee. So sometimes, if you have an auctioneer that's coming there to sell the storage auction stuff, the storage units, he wants to get paid. He's not doing it for free. So there'll be like a premium. Sometimes it's 10, 12, 15%. That's usually 10 to 15 is the industry standard. Sometimes it's a little more, sometimes a little less. So, and what that means is you're paying for the locker, but then you also have to pay the auctioneer for him to come out, use his license to auctioneer something, you know. So that, let's say you pay $100 on a storage locker and it's a 15% premium, you got to pay the auctioneer $15. You know, it's all tied in together. You pay the facility, and then they pay the auctioneer at the end. But that's what the premium is. So, and then sometimes there's tax, so you have to pay the sales tax on it unless you have a tax exemption or sales tax number. So once you buy the locker, what I usually do is I bring out, and I'll be making a video on this, I'll bring out 2 or 3 tables. I'll bring out a trailer and I load up all my trash cans. I'll usually bring out like 5 or 6 trash cans on my trailer and get everything set up, kind of like a processing setup. So I'll bring out a box, open it up, go through it. If it's good, I move it down to the end of the table. If it's not, I throw it right into the trash can. And I know that one that I bought with all the boxes and the paperwork, and I kept saying it's nothing but paper, it's nothing but paper. I purposely say things so that, you know, like if it's a trashy locker, I'll hype it up in hopes of getting someone else to spend their money. If it's a good locker, I'll talk it down in hopes of putting a seed in their head. Most of the time it don't work. They're going to buy what they're going to buy, but I try. You know, it's my little way of making me feel like I'm doing something. But yeah, once you process the locker, you go through a lot of times with like glassware and, you know, little things. You don't want to throw anything away until the end, because you never know when you're going to open up a box and see the other piece to it. So, you know, if you open up a box and you have 3 pieces of glass, don't just say it's missing one and throw it away. You might have one somewhere else. Case in point, the whole Star Wars thing in the other video. You know, my dad's glasses. In fact, when I go there, I got to go talk with her about getting that back. So, but, you know, once you go through, you process it. If it's unique items, sometimes you can take a picture right there, put it on Facebook, put it on Craigslist, you know, put it on whatever app you're selling it on. Or you can box it up, take it back, and do it wherever you want to do it. And when you're selling, you know, the hard part of all of this is, well, hard part labor-wise is cleaning out the locker. Hard part, period, is trying to sell it. So it's easy to buy something. You can go to Walmart, you can go to any store out there, you can go to auctions. It's easy to buy. It's a game changer when you learn how to sell. And I have been blessed being raised in the flea market and buying and selling since I was 10 years old. You know, I know how to sell. And I also sell to a lot of dealers. So yes, I'm leaving a lot of money on the table, but I'm flipping it. Well, let me talk about that for a second. Should you try to get everything out of something? Should you try to sell it for as close to retail as possible? Or should you blow it at a cheaper price? It depends on, like, if you have a toy store, then, you know, let's say you set up a booth and you mainly, 99% of the time, you're selling toys. So when you get something that's not a toy, you're going to have a harder time selling it because all your customers want toys. But when you do find like rare or collectible toys, you can sell it for more money because you already know the people who want to buy it. So, you know, yes, if you have a generalized market and that's what you sell and that's what you know, like on the last one, if you know about it, if you got the knowledge, then you're good. So it's kind of like a mixed bag, and it's all, you know, I mean, I can sit here and give you a list, say follow this list perfectly. You know, it may work for you, it may not, but what I do is, okay, let's say I go out and I spend $10 on a box of something, you know, okay? And each box is the same, and what I do is on one box, I price it at about 40 to 50% of retail. Okay, and then the other box, I price it at 80% of retail. So everything's the same. You know, let's pretend like it's 2 separate tables. Well, of course, the stuff that's cheaper is going to sell quicker. And you're like, well, you don't get as much money, but you get your money back. Let's say, you know, there's $100 worth of stuff. You bought it for $10. So I'm going to sell everything in the box. I sold it for $40. I took my 10, flipped it to 40, same day, one day. Now I got $40 to spend, okay? At the same time, the other box, you got your $10 and you're going to sell it for $80, but it takes 3 weeks to sell versus selling it the same day. So this is where you have to kind of just step back and look at what's going on. But if you got, oh wow, there's a deer on the side of the road that was hit. Sorry, squirrel. So that $10 where I'm selling it for $40, I make my $40 back. Now I have $40 to go out and theoretically buy more $10 boxes. So if I can buy it and sell it quicker, even though I'm making less money, I'm turning it around to where if I win, if I make profit every single time, I'm going to end up making more money selling it for less because I'm selling it quicker and being able to reinvest the money quicker into more product and into more material. So, and there's a scale factor. So if you buy too much, then it doesn't matter. You're going to be stuck with stuff, so you might as well have a couple items. You know, like the Canon. The Canon, I'm going to put a good number on it because people are going to come and look at the Canon. You know, it's going to happen. And occasionally you find things and they're what I call attention getters. So, you know, like I want to get things put in the booth that draw people in. And the dealers always, that's the first, they're going to come and look for that Canon. They'll be like, oh, how much is it? And I'm going to probably say, you know, $60 or $80 or whatever I put on it. Oh, I can't sell it. That's about retail. Like, yeah, I'm out there selling too. But I did it so I can get people to come in and look at the Canon. Get people to look around, you know. And if you get one person to come in the booth for an attention getter, then most of the time they're going to kind of look around and say, okay, what else do you have? You know. But it's a lot of, it's one of the things that, you know, it depends on what you know, it depends on where you're at. Like, okay, I just heard something ticking back there. Hopefully I don't have another, yeah, hopefully I don't have another bomb. But case in point, let's say, you know, here in Florida, seashells and, you know, ocean stuff is kind of everyday mundane stuff. But if I have a whole bunch of seashells and I took it to Kansas, would it sell better? Would it sell worse? You never know, you know. But I know there's a lot less seashells in Kansas than there is in Florida. So theoretically, I could buy in Florida, drive to Kansas, and sell seashells there. In fact, one thing my mom did, she went down to Naples, and there was a whole bunch of like Jacksonville Jaguars and Florida Gator stuff at a garage sale, and nobody down in Naples really are fans. So she ended up buying it for ridiculously cheap because they couldn't sell it. Nobody wanted it. And so she brought it back to Jacksonville and sold the hell out of it and made a ton of money. Well, not a ton, but she made a few pounds of money. So there's always a way to make money. If there's anything that you've heard from me, there's always a way to make money. And I highly recommend the legal ways, okay? I mean, you know, don't steal, don't rob, don't sell illegal stuff. And that's something else you got to worry about too. Is not with storage units. Well, it's a very rare. I mean, there is a possibility that you could buy a storage locker and the owner of it was stealing. So yes, there's always that possibility. But I mean, I've been doing this for a long time, and I have never came into anything that was stolen. I can tell you that I found one thing that didn't have proof of identification. So, but I had a specific person that I know that could take care of it. I called him up and said, hey, you know, I got this here, and for legal reasons, I don't want to say what it is, but, you know, he came and says, yeah, I could take care of it, and, you know, I think I paid about $150 for that locker, and I sold that one item for $60. And he's probably going to sell it for $300, but it's something that I couldn't sell. So, you know, I got some money back and got rid of something that I don't really get into selling. So, and if you do want to do storage units, or if you do want to get into this, go to the flea market. First off, have a garage sale. Take the stuff that you own that you don't need anymore, have a garage sale, and practice selling. Okay, that's the number one thing, because I'm gonna tell you, it'll hurt your heart, because you'll have this idea of what you sell it for, and like a lot of people out of this flea market, 3 weeks later they got the same shit sitting on the table. It don't matter what you have on it. If it's not moving, it ain't worth anything, you know. So if it doesn't sell, it doesn't sell. It don't matter what price you have on it. But get out and have a garage sale. It's free. You can set up. You can, you know, see what you need as far as pricing materials, tables. You know, you'll need some bags, boxes, some wrapping material if you have breakables. You know, learn how to set up a table. Learn how to, you know, kind of get things, you know, displayed, because you really want to make it appealing to the eye. Throwing a bunch of crap on the table is not necessarily how to do this kind of work. After having the garage sale, go out to your local flea market, not to sell, just go out there and walk around, you know, ask people, not, you know, just say, hey, how much you got on this, how much you got on this, and understand that their price that they have on it is not low enough for people to buy it. So, you know, if you say, hey, I got a whole bunch of these, and they have them out there for $5, $10 a piece, and they're still on the table, that means you're gonna have to be less to be able to sell it, because if he's not selling it or she's not selling it, what makes you think you're gonna come out there and sell it? So you always have to take in mind of, if you're going out to the flea market selling, one, you want to see who your competition is. You know, you want to see if anybody else is going to be selling the same stuff you. And if you're buying storage lockers, you know, that's kind of moot, because you're gonna sell whatever the hell's in the storage locker. But the you know, knowing what's out there, looking at the prices, and realizing that everything that's out there has not sold. You know, so don't just assume that you're going to get the same price they are. You always have to be lower. You always have to, you know, look at your competition and say, how can I beat the competition? How can I sell better, sell more? You know, and usually it's selling for less. But you don't have to necessarily give your stuff away either. Remember the attention getters. And then, you know, next thing is grab a couple $100 and go out to a storage unit. Some storage units, some auctions are way better than what the other video was. Some are way worse. I mean, there was one where every single locker, there was like 7 lockers, all of them sold for $10 or less. And it's not that they were bad, it was random broken furniture, and there's a lot of trash. And speaking of trash, I guess that would be the final thing. After you clean out the locker, you're going to have a bunch of trash. So you got to call it. The best way to do it is call the city, whatever city you live in. If it's Jacksonville, you call 630 city, and you can buy big trash cans like the ones that are in front of my shop, in front of my house. You can buy the big trash cans. They're $65 a piece, but they come with warranty. So if anything ever gets broken, you know, I mean, you can't beat that deal. It's worth it. I mean, a regular trash can at Lowe's or Home Depot is $165 or $170. So, you know, one the same size. So go ahead and order in a couple of trash cans if you're planning on doing this. Every other Wednesday or every other your local, whatever your recycle day is, you have a bulk waste pickup. So you want to, you know, whenever you're talking to them, say, hey, when's bulk waste? You can get rid of mattresses and large furniture. So, you know, put that out if you're in an apartment complex or in a condo. Usually you have dumpsters there. So taking consideration of what you're doing with the trash, because you can get buried in that also real quick. And if you're out in the outskirts, or if you're in a, you know, where you got a little property, bonfires. Once a month, have a bonfire and bring over some guys, drink some beer, you know, boil some shrimp. Man, I ain't been to a shrimp boil in a freaking while. I miss that big old 5-gallon bucket of cold boiled shrimp with some garlic butter. Hell, last time I went, it was all Busch beer. That was the only thing they had. So I like the setup. Hopefully the noise isn't that bad. So I kind of want to do this more often. I kind of like this setup here. And it gives me an opportunity. This is definitely going to be kind of like a rant session. Not this one. This is, I wanted to try to let you guys know some of the things I do on how I make money. And like I said, this is what, the 3rd video, so I'll have one more at the end of the day to kind of talk about what I did and, you know, see how much money I made today. And again, like I said, probably half the stuff I bought is going right into a dumpster, right into the trash can. But anyways, let's see. I gotta get some food and drink. There's this little Filipino lady out there. You can't look at her kitchen, man. She's one person and she does the best she can do. So, but she does have good food. It just sometimes you walk in there and like there's a lot of stuff sitting around, you know. But I haven't gotten sick yet. And then I'm gonna go and give her a little bit of money, get me some eggs, and get like 4 or 5 drinks because I know I'm gonna need something for today. Let's see, I gotta pick up that piece of glass, and I'm externalizing my thoughts right now. I think I'm gonna cut it off for now. I'm really glad I had a chance to do the video. I've been wanting to do something just to put it out there, and I'm happy about that. But anyways, I'm out. Peace, love, money. Have a wonderful weekend.